Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren Fisher and I'm the owner of Fisher Furniture Design. And today, this video is going to be the Extreme Buffet Makeover. And let me tell you, it was extreme. Took me a lot longer than I wanted, but it's finally done and it's gorgeous. I have no words. So in this video, it's gonna go into a lot. You'll learn a lot on this video. Especially key highlights are tannin bleed through primer and how to combat that. My very own actual reaction, like first genuine reaction to using Dixie Belle paint and what I think of it. Because this is the first time I've ever used Dixie Belle paint. And also how to do the dry brushing technique, how I got all of these faded, or this faded antique aged look. I go way more in depth on that. So stick around, you'll learn a lot and enjoy the video. So we're gonna start here with removing all of the hardware so we can get it ready to be prepped and cleaned. So these are actually locks that came on the doors of the buffet. The middle of the drawers, though, were imitation locks to match the doors. But I'm gonna remove those and fill them in. So you're just gonna take a screwdriver or a small little chisel, and you're just gonna wiggle in there as gently as you can to really just remove those keys. But some pieces have nailed in hardware, and that's just a quick way to remove it. So now we're gonna fill in those keyholes. So we're gonna use this JB Weld Quick Wood to fill in all of those keyholes. And you definitely need a mask and gloves. So after we put on all of our protective gear, we're gonna take our straight razor and cut off a little chunk, and it comes in this tube. And you're just gonna mix it and mix it. You see how it was two different colors? You're just gonna keep moving it around in your hands and knead it a little bit, rub it, and it's gonna come out one solid color, like one whole gray like that. And you're just gonna plop it into your keyhole. And you really just wanna get it as packed in there as you can. You don't want any bubbles in there or anything that can just pack it. And then I realized I put way too much, so I'm just gonna take my scraper and scrape off all the extra because I don't want to sand all of that off later. And also, guys, this stuff stinks, and it's an epoxy filler, but it's the most durable filler because I'm gonna be drilling right through this thing. After my epoxy wood filler dried, I'm now just doing a quick rough sanding on the entire piece of my furniture with a 120 grit sandpaper. And after I got the epoxy sanded on these doors, I'm going to be drilling straight through it to add knobs to this piece. And thank you to my husband who works the drill for me all the time. Now I'm going to be adding these gorgeous wood appliques to the doors. I'm using Gorilla Wood Glue and just using a little small amount and spreading it all around the applique. Then I want to take a brush and spread all that glue around it. You especially want to get it around the edges. And after you have a nice thin even layer all around it, it's time to set it in place. Oops, I got a little glue right there. Just wipe that up. And now go ahead and set it in place.
When I have my applique set to where I want, I'm just gonna come in with that same brush and go into all of those little crevices and clean up all the little extra glue that spilled out when I set it.
So after I had my appliques dry yesterday, and I also added primer last night, I just kind of wanted to show you what tannin bleed through looks like through primer. That's really bad tannin bleed through. That's gonna come up through my paint. So I wanted to share with you guys the next step that you do is, well, what I do, I have two options I go to next. This primer wasn't heavy enough to combat that, this really bad tannin. So I spot treat next. I have two options. I either use the Kills spray. This is oil-based. It stinks really bad, so you have to be in a very well-ventilated area. This I could take outside and do it, but I couldn't take this outside. So for my next option, I can also use this Surf Prep Primer by Paint Couture. And this works really, really well. It acts actually like an oil-based primer, but it's water-based and has absolutely no smell to it. So I'll probably likely go with that. But yeah, I just really wanted to show you that's what tannin bleed through looks like and why I actually wanted to prime this whole piece compared to the last pieces. This is all pure cherry. And I was super nervous, and my motto is, when in doubt, just prime. Okay, so the primer has dried for the spot treatment of all the tannins, and I just want to show you what it's gonna look like when you know it's working. Okay, so it looks really good. You might have a little bit of yellowing, but that's okay. It's not nearly as prominent as it was before I put this on, and so this tells me that my primer is working. And now that this is good to go, I'm ready to go on my next step, which is my favorite, painting. But before I paint, I am gonna come in and sand all of this primer really lightly with a 220 grit sandpaper. Now, if you wanna take your furniture up one notch, through every layer of paint that you do, go in and do a light sand of 220 grit sandpaper, and it gives you that butter smooth feeling, and it'll just up your game professionally wise. So once I get that all sanded, then we'll start with the painting.
So I'm gonna be mixing two colors, the Muscadine Wine and the Moonshine Metallic in Rosé. And I'm gonna mix half of the Muscadine Wine and half of the Moonshine Metallic in Rosé. And it came out gorgeous, and I love it.
All right, my favorite part, painting, the pretty colors. So I wanted to do an actual live reaction on the first time using Dixie Belle paint. It's notorious in the furniture flip, furniture artistry world, and I've tried Rust-Oleum, I've tried Behr, tried Paint Couture, and I'm finally excited to try Dixie Belle. So I just wanted to get my true, genuine reaction to if I love it, hate it, whatever, it's okay. And so, yeah, let's get this started. I'm excited. Okay, so, first thing, it's chalk paint. So you need your definite mister bottle. And I've already went ahead and poured the paint. So I'm just gonna mist my paint down here a little bit. And then I'm gonna start doing just the first drawer so I can start getting a feel for maybe how the paint slides. And, oh, I'm just so excited. So, and then I'm gonna take my spray and I'm just gonna spray this down, okay? And then this is a Country Chic 1.5 flat brush. I got it on Amazon and I have a bigger one and I absolutely love it, so. All right, let's give this a whirl here. Might have used a little bit too much water, but that's okay. Oh yeah. Okay, on I am loving this already. Wow. I like it. I like this. Like, this is what gets me excited. So, and then just, I mean, if you're doing texture, you can go each way. There's 100 different ways to paint. I like going in long, smooth motions, back and forth. And this one I might have to do about 3 coats because I did that special blend with the metallic moonshine and the muscadine wine. So I'm thinking and usually metallics are a little bit translucent, so I might have to do 3 coats with this project, which is fine. So I just really wanted to give Dixie Belle a true, genuine try, and I am definitely not disappointed here. Okay, I see all the hype. This is beautiful. And I just love that it's self-leveling. Behr paint and Rust-Oleum paint isn't self-leveling, so it takes a lot more finesse that I'm just not very finesse. So self-leveling paint is the way to go too. So my thoughts, gorgeous. Thank you, Dixie Belle. You got a fan. Woo! So I got my final coat done with this piece, and I'm ready to start dry brushing. Now in my last video with the green dresser, I got a lot of people asking me how I was able to achieve that effect with the shading. And I said in this video I was gonna go way more in depth on it. So this is me going in depth on the dry brushing technique to get the effect I got on that green dresser. So the things you'll need: chip brush. I got 25 of these. They're 1 inch off of Amazon. They're awesome. I use that. And then your paint, I use a black paint, and I'm gonna be using Dixie Belle's Caviar for this. And you're gonna need shop towels. You can also use regular paper towels. They work just as good. I used regular paper towels on the last one, but I bought shop towels, so I think these are gonna work a lot better. Or paper towels work, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I got my paint, I got my towels, and I got my brush. So here we go, okay? So you're just gonna take your chip brush, and you're just gonna put a tiny, like that much, onto your chip brush. Okay, you're gonna take your shop towel and you're gonna wipe off as much as you can, okay, to where there's really nothing left. And this is a process. This can take a while. It usually does. Another tip though, when doing this, if you're gonna wipe off your stuff, do it away from your piece, because I've had backsplash from the black paint from doing it too close. So try and do it on the side and do it that way. Okay, so let's get started here. Okay, so very lightly, because I'm gonna go around all of this edging right here, okay? I'm just gonna just go back and forth. And you can put on how black you want it, how light you want it. It just depends on how much
paint you put on it. So I don't like to oversaturate it, and I like to control my colors, so I do very little as possible, and that's why I said it can be very time consuming. So you just, I love doing this. I love really meticulous things. So, and you could probably do it with wax. I've never tried it with wax. Mostly because I do a top coat, and I don't know, I've waxed pieces before, but now I do top coat, but yeah, so, okay, kind of running out, so. So I kind of want to make it darker in here and lighten it out on both directions. And really, that's it. And that's how you start dry brushing and getting kind of the aged effects. So I'm just gonna continue doing this, and yeah, we'll see what the outcome looks like after I'm done. And just a short sneak peek of the progress I made. After I got all of my dry brushing done, I'm now coming in to highlight my piece. I'm using Rub and Buff and Antique Gold. I'm also going to do the side of the doors and around the drawers and on top of the trim. And don't forget about your hinges also. Okay, so we're almost there, almost to the finish line. I got my dry brushing all done. I got all my Rub and Buff and the Antique Gold applied to where I want to put it for this piece. And now we're on to doing the top coat, clear coat. And today I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's top coat, or clear coat, excuse me, in satin. And I'm only going to be doing one layer of this. From what I read correctly, if you use their clear coats and then you put their gator height on top of it, it creates the most durability. I didn't find that out until after I made all my purchases, so I'm only going to be doing one coat of this and then going over with my Paint Couture satin, because I know it's a really heavy duty top coat, and that's just how I like my top coats, extremely sturdy. But I guess this is supposed to deepen my color, which is what I was really going for, like a wax would. So that's why I initially purchased it, because I heard it was going to deepen my color. I don't know if I read that correctly. Fingers crossed. We'll find out after I get it put on. So, all right, let's get going. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I already did this side of my piece, so I'm letting that dry, so I'm gonna be working this way. Now, with this, you want to get this just a little bit damp. Not soaking wet, but just damp. It helps with the sponge a little bit for picking things up. And then once your first coat dries, don't store these in a baggie with water. Rinse them out and wash them with dish soap. And just let them dry. They cake on and they get really gross if you leave them in a baggie. So, okay, let's get started. And I use these small little bowls. This fits perfect in these small bowls. And I got my clear coat here. So I'm just gonna dab just a little bit on here and kind of remove the excess. You don't want a lot. Okay, so a little bit like that. Okay, and then you're just gonna apply medium pressure and go down, and then you don't want to keep going over and over it. And then I'm going to go to the side. And this is self-leveling. Sorry, let me just get that. I read this is self-leveling, which helps a lot. And I actually ended up using 2 coats of the clear top coat of Dixie Belle and 1 coat of Paint Couture's satin.
I'm not the best at top coats, and as I get better and have been doing this a lot longer, I know my skill will get a lot better. But it has started deepening my color, which is what I really wanted this to do, so I'm really happy. So I'm just gonna finish it and we'll stage it and you guys get to see the finished result.
And this piece came out so stunning. I am so floored, so happy. Just thank you, Dixie Belle, for the paint. I just have no words. I love it. I absolutely love it.
And thanks guys for tuning in if you made it to the end of this video. It really means a lot to me. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below and hit that subscribe while you're at it if you enjoy it. But I hope everyone has a great holiday season and I'll catch you on the next video.